Mpape, a densely populated area within Buari Area Council, is experiencing earth movement once again. The tremor, which began last weekend and continued intermittently through Monday night, is raising concern amongst residents of the area.
This one around, just a small, this will not be like before. And that time what happened was that they called the government's attention and the government enter here to do the necessary thing what they're supposed to do. And watch that time the thing stop. Still now, the thing happen again and the same thing. No need crack for any building. Nothing happen. Just shaking the ground. Let them take action for it. Because from there we can know what is going on.
Though the community borders one of Abuja's highbrow areas, Maitama, the area is popular for licensed quarry activities, especially in the interior parts of the community. However, residents believe there is no link between the quarry activities and the earth movement.
From 1 o'clock to 2, I'm very, very scared because I was inside, but I have to come outside to look what is happening. But I see all the mountain. There's nothing like shaking. And then maybe in 1 hour or 1 hour, 30 minutes, it still shake again. Even here where you did, shake everywhere. So it is very serious something. May federal government do something about it.
Even people, they hear it. They think other na blasting. Because all this area na blasting places. So even person hear it, in go think other na blasting. Before me myself, I think so other na blasting people.
This is not the first time that there will be same earth movement in the area. However, the latest tremor did not record any disruptions in the community, though the people want the authorities to address the issue.
By that, Well, yes, we're going to be talking about a disaster that has already happened in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, and also how to prevent. Please do forgive us there. How to prevent one from happening here in Abuja as we keep an eye on the tremors that were reported in the Mpape area of the FCT. We have two gentlemen joining us this morning. We have Air Commodore Kennedy Mataluo, who is the Director, Search and Rescue at NEMA, and he'll be giving us an update on what the situation is in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, which is still trying to cope with the floods. We are hoping that they are receding, but the updates we got, is it from an aerial view yesterday? I'm trying to remember the agency that reported that, said 135 hectares of land were affected by the floods that broke out in Maiduguri last week. General sir, is it possible for us to bring us up to speed with what the search and rescue situation is and attempt at relief efforts for the residents of Borno State?
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah, the flood actually covered large area and it submerged a lot of farmlands and affected so many communities. Yes, the water has receded, and we are winding down on the search and rescue because most of the areas now, apart from places like the College of Agri, 545, that we still have some large quantity of water. Water has receded from other areas. Well, I would say that the search and rescue activities is still ongoing, but not like some few days back. We're still trying to check to see people that are still in distress. But it's worthy to note that a large number of the population really decided to stay in their houses because they were scared that if they leave their houses, hoodlums may invade their houses and pack their things. So they decided to remain mostly on the roof of their houses. But we also attended to them by providing water and food for them so that they will be able to sustain them since they don't want to leave. But so far, I would say the water has receded and the search and rescue activities will soon come to a halt. The only thing we are looking forward to doing now is trying to search for probably those that have died, to get the corpses to the mortuary so that we know the number of people that actually lost their life during this flood.
Do we have an update yet on, has the number been reported to have increased or decreased?
That's the number of deaths?
Yes, please.
I know it's going to increase because there are so many areas that were cut off initially. And it's now that you can be able to get into the area. So we don't know the number of people that were trapped, probably that have lost their life. And we don't even know the number of people that may have been washed away by water. So by the time we now start doing the total assessment, because the government of Borno State has set up a flood assessment committee, which is going to carry out a comprehensive assessment on all the persons that they have rescued, the persons that are missing, and try to see if we can get them. If we can't get them, then we know that something maybe may have gone wrong. But for now, we can't really say tentatively this is the number, but we know that it's going to increase.
In the interim, what's the number that we have?
I think some days back, just about 34 or thereabout, but I know that as of yesterday, they were recovering some corpses, which I didn't really go out today to ascertain that. But when I go out, I know I will be able to get the right number that they were able to, recover through the night. But for now, I can't really say this is the exact number.
You say that the floods are receding and a number of residents have refused to leave their homes. Instead, they decided to stay on the roofs of their homes so that they can safeguard their property. And somehow you are managing to get relief items to them. Can you give us a sense of how much water has receded, if you can measure it in feet, for instance, or using, say, the roof of a house versus the lintel, window level? How much water would you say, or by how much would you say that the flood water have really receded, especially in the places that have been hardest hit?
Well, I can say that the water has dropped by probably up to 2 meters. It has dropped by more than 2 meters probably. Because initially there are areas that you could not see the rooftops, but now you could see that the water has gone almost to the base of the houses. So I know it has dropped by more than 2 meters. And it's only the areas that are by the bank of the rivers. Those are the areas that are still, inside water. But other areas that are on slightly higher ground, the water has reduced completely. And the main roads now, usually the water is close to the waist, but now it has dropped below the knee. It's quite low.
Okay, let me take this to my colleague, Ayo.
Thank you, Malwa. Ekumodo, one of the questions anyone would want to ask you right now is, what are the thoughts or the plans about the transition from where we are now to a time when all of the water is receded? Do you see any plans in place? Do you see any thinking in that direction at all? Can you hear me, Air Commander Matalu? Okay, well, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get your comments on that one as well, because on the one hand, can you hear me now, sir? Okay. Well, Mark, I'm not sure that he can hear me, because one of the issues that I'm really, I really want us to find out is whether there is any plan, to full recovery. You also pointed out that, some people would rather stay where their houses are and they don't want to move. There are fears of disease outbreak. We saw some of that in the papers this morning. And there is also the thinking along whether or not the people will still be able to live in those houses. What are the possible plans to ensure that, people can live freely and healthily in that environment? Commander, I'm not sure if you can hear me right now. Okay, well, I can't hear you. Maybe you need to unmute or something. But if you have been hearing me, if you can speak to those issues, what are the plans, post-flooding plans, if we can put it that way, for the people who will be living in that area? What are the things that may need to be done in order for people to be able to live safely and healthily in that environment, all the environments that are flooded right now? Oh dear. Well, Mark, I guess it's back to you right now, because I'm not sure that you can hear right now. Because I'm not sure that you can hear right now. Because I'm not sure that you can hear right now. Because I'm not sure that.
I heard your question, and he's in the process of answering it. So over now to you, Ekomodo.
Okay. Okay. A flood assessment committee has been set up by the Borno State government, including NEMA and other stakeholders. Their main job is to first assess the entire place affected, the buildings, and probably the waterways, and look at it. Is it possible for these guys to go back to their houses? And are the houses safe for them to really move in? So that will be done immediately. The water recedes to some extent, especially at some areas we call 505 and the College of Agri. And I went around yesterday. I saw that some of the buildings have really cracked badly. I don't think the individuals will be able to get back to their houses. But the government is doing something about it. They are thinking of either rebuilding the entire buildings for them or relocating them to other areas that are safer. But the government is working on it. And in terms of the World Health Organization, NEMA, Health Services, the armed forces too, they are going around already checking, and they have started disinfecting most of the areas. The fire service trucks are being used to disinfect the surroundings so that at least to prevent communicable diseases from spreading around among the people.
So how much, because we are reading in the papers this morning that 100 drums of chlorine have been sent to Maiduguri to try and disinfect the water sources that people will be drinking. But in the meantime, do you have an idea of how quickly this will be done? Because water is life. If people do not get drinkable water in good time or potable water in good time, they'll drink whatever it is they find. How quickly do you think that these let's say chemicals and things that have been deployed will be used, for the immediate safety of the people of Maiduguri?
Yes, effort is in Maiduguri. To make sure that okay. Effort is being made to make sure that the displaced persons have clean water so that to prevent waterborne diseases from spreading around. And also NEMA provided 2 water purifiers to purify water as well as distribute it. It has been working, and large part of the areas, really that's where they get their water from, the NEMA water purifiers. But I know the government is also making effort there, also purifying water as well as distributing it to especially those that are living in areas that are still submerged. So effort has been made. Also, a lot of water purifying tablets have also been distributed to make sure that nobody drinks dirty water. So effort is being made to make sure that the water, at least that people drink or use to bathe, is clean to some extent.
All right, well, if you can hear me, El Commodore. If you can hear. How about the fears of that disease outbreak? I know that, from what you have said, efforts are being made severally to ensure that, things don't go out of place and that the people can still inhabit their homes. when they get back there. But there is also that fear that some people have been expressing in the camps and everywhere else. Particularly, we also understand that there have been efforts being made to house more than the number of people that a particular IDP camp can take, or a particular refugee camp can take, whichever one we want to put it. So are those fears genuine? Are they valid? Are they germane? Are there any interventions in that way?
Okay, NEMA deployed, as well as World Health Organization and the local government medical field too, they have deployed to all the camps. Also, the Nigerian Air Force are providing some medical service. I think most of the camps have, to some extent, certain medical services to be able to help the displaced persons to prevent outbreak of diseases. Also, some well-meaning Nigerians on their own too have also made effort to provide drugs as well as some level of medical services in some other minor camps. I would say most of the camps have medical, some level of medical attention. The only thing is that we don't know as the level of, or rather we don't know as people come together, some may be having one form of ailment or the other that may spread, but effort is being made to really identify those people that are down with one ailment as well as quarantine them immediately as to avoid the spread of diseases. Some days back, 3 days back, we got to know that there was somebody that was identified to have Mpox. And the NEMA medical staff, the World Health medical staff, as well as the local government medical staff, deployed immediately to the camp, the Jajere camp also. And they were able to identify the person. They took the samples, took sample from the young man. But after careful observation, they said it is not Mpox, it is scabies. Though the press is still reporting Mpox, but it's scabies, not Mpox. And the result of the sample taken will be out by next week. So we will be able to know exactly. But all the family members that got close to the young lady have been quarantined for the time being, not to spread the disease. But we know that there may be an outbreak and we're preparing for it.
So, well, that is one finding. But what other findings would you say that the search and rescue operations that you supervise have revealed to you since this process began? What have been your findings, particularly seeing that this unprecedented humanitarian crisis?
Well, I think we really have to look at the way we develop our cities, because the town planning part of the city can determine to a large extent how disaster affects our city, especially flood. I think over time, because there has not been flood in this general area, people build their houses even on natural waterways, to which I think the governor has made up his mind that all accommodations that are located within those areas are likely going to be leveled, so that people will have to move away from natural waterways. That's one. Secondly, is that we don't really look at things more objectively. Probably issues about that dam has been raised, but it was downplayed due to long time that we did not experience any dam damage. But this has opened our eyes so that we always know that things that have not happened could happen at any moment. That's what disaster is. Disaster never wants. It comes when you least expect, and that's what we have seen. Then thirdly, we really have to think about getting enough equipment for the rescue services, because yes, there are equipment that have been used here, but if there are more equipment, probably the police and some other stakeholders, NSCDC will have joined the rescue services, but we narrow it to just the disaster response unit of the military, the NEMA, as well as the SEMA. Those are the main stakeholders that will carry out the search and rescue. But we could have done better if there were more equipment.
Well, we have to say thank you so much, Air Commodore Kennedy Matalo, for joining us this morning, bringing us up to speed on the developments in Maiduguri. We sincerely hope that whenever it is we call on you for an update on what is going on there, that you will be able to bring us up to speed. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Yes, and thank you to your team too.